So you feel it too, right? That feeling like the ground is shifting under your feet at work? Well, you're not wrong. Today, we're going to unpack the massive changes happening right now and give you a real, concrete playbook for how to navigate your career in 2026.
Okay, let's just dive right in. For generations, the whole idea was to climb the career ladder. Simple enough, but that ladder, it's pretty much broken now. The old rules just don't apply anymore. And the very things that built stable careers even just a few years ago are being totally flipped on their head. It's got a lot of people scrambling, wondering what comes next.
So, first, we have to get our heads around this fundamental shift, what we're calling the two-speed workplace. This is the great realignment. And to really understand it, you have to know about a concept some economists are calling the two-speed machine. Honestly, this is probably the single most important idea for understanding where the entire job market is headed. So, what does that actually mean? Well, think of it like this. AI and automation are making the whole economy bigger and more productive, which sounds great. But the rewards, the benefits of that growth, they're flowing almost exclusively to the top. This is creating a huge divide. You've got one group of people who can use these new AI tools to become incredibly productive. And then you've got another group whose skills are quickly becoming obsolete, and they're really at risk of being left behind. So, what's actually driving this split? Well, it really boils down to two huge connected forces: AI and what's being called the Great Consolidation. Now, when we say AI, we're not just talking about chatbots. We're talking about agentic AI. Think of it as AI that doesn't just suggest things, but can actually do complex multi-step jobs all by itself. And at the exact same time, companies are consolidating. And these two trends are just feeding off each other, making the pace of change feel incredibly fast. And this number, wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? Here's the core problem in a nutshell. A massive 75% of employees feel like they are not prepared to use AI in their jobs. Companies are racing to roll this tech out, but the workforce just hasn't been able to keep up. That gap right there between the technology and people's readiness, that's where all the friction is coming from. And this quote really nails the change. We are seeing AI shift from being a helper to being a doer. It's moving way beyond just drafting an email for you. We're talking about AI that can manage a whole marketing campaign, or analyze complex financial reports, or execute entire project workflows all on its own. These are tasks that used to be the very core of a lot of professional jobs. And while all that's happening with AI, companies are tightening their belts. They're looking at the economy, they're looking at these new AI efficiencies, and they're hitting the brakes. They're freezing hiring and restructuring teams. And that puts this immense pressure on the people who are still there, especially middle managers, who are now basically expected to do way more with way less. So this brings us to our third major trend, and honestly, this might be the most shocking consequence of this whole new economy. It's a massive white-collar/blue-collar reversal. The fortunes of these two groups are being completely flipped, basically turning decades of solid career advice completely upside down. For decades, the safe bet was a professional office job. But now those very entry-level roles, in fields like finance and law, they're the most at risk as AI just automates all those junior-level tasks. And in this crazy reversal, the skilled trades, we're talking welders, electricians, plumbers, they're seeing a huge boom in demand and wages. Why? Because you just can't automate their hands-on. And the scale of this, it's just staggering. Let this number sink in. 12 million people in the US alone might have to completely change what they do for a living by 2030. This isn't just a small tweak, it's a massive, economy-wide reskilling event. And the people in office support and admin roles, they're facing the biggest disruption of all. And look, this isn't some far-off prediction. It is happening as we speak. We're actually seeing Gen Z increasingly choosing trade schools over four-year colleges. Why? To avoid massive student debt and to sidestep the direct threat of AI disruption. It's an incredibly pragmatic choice based on this new reality. Okay, so if the old career paths are vanishing and the job market is upside down, what's the path forward? Well, it all comes down to our fourth key trend, the new skills imperative. We are moving from a world that cared about your credentials to a world that only cares about your demonstrable skills. And this, right here, this is the multi-million-dollar question every single one of us needs to be asking ourselves. If almost 40% of core job skills are going to change in just a few years, we have to be really, really strategic about what we decide to learn next. So, what skills really matter? Well, according to the World Economic Forum, the skills seeing the biggest growth are actually a pretty fascinating mix. Yeah, no surprise, AI and big data is right there at the top. But look what's right next to it: analytical thinking and creative thinking. So the message is clear. You need to be able to work with the technology, but you also have to be able to think in ways that the technology just can't. Let's just call these what they are: your human centric superpowers. Because as AI and automation take over all the routine, repetitive stuff, these uniquely human skills, things like emotional intelligence, critical thinking, true creativity, leadership, they become your most valuable career asset. This is where you bring value that a machine simply can't touch. Okay, deep breath. I know we've covered a lot of disruptive, kind of scary trends. It can feel overwhelming. But knowing all this is only half the battle. Now let's get to the good part. Let's make this concrete. Let's make it actionable. This is your 2026 career playbook, the actual strategies you can start using today to build your future. So here's the key. Forget about those huge multi-year learning plans. Instead, you need to move in short, focused 90-day cycles. Why? Because things are just changing too fast. First, figure out your most critical skill gap. Second, take a short course or a micro-credential to learn it. And then, and this is the most important part, immediately find a way to apply it and show it off. Build a small project, use it in your job, update your portfolio. Then, you just repeat the cycle. And this is exactly why that 90-day plan is so critical. The way companies hire is changing, and it's changing fast. It's not about the degree you got 10 years ago anymore. It's about having a living, breathing portfolio of skills you can actually prove. By 2026, employers are going to want to see proof you can do the job, not just a piece of paper that says you once studied for it. And that really brings us to a final, crucial point. In this completely new world of work, taking total ownership of your own learning isn't just a good idea, it's the ultimate form of career leadership. It's not optional anymore. It's the single most important thing you can do to stay relevant and stay in control of your own future. So, that's the challenge. But you know what? It's also the massive opportunity that's right in front of all of us. The old career playbook is officially obsolete. The new one is being written as we speak, and it offers a direct path to success for anyone who's willing to learn, adapt, and build. The future is skill-driven. So the only real question left is, are you ready to build yours?